special counsel as an individual who oversaw all of these irregularities, and for the past 2 months claiming he didn't even need it. He's responsible for the collapsed plea deal, something viewed as an embarrassment for your department. It is. In light of Weiss's record leading this investigation, we have concerns about his appointment. So to advance our job as legislators, here's what we need from you, Merrick. All documents and communications referring to David Weiss's appointment as special counsel, any additional scope memoranda, directives, or instructions from the office relating to Weiss's appointment. Please provide these no later than September 11th. The Supreme Court has found that we may examine any matter at any time with our broad and indispensable power. Thank you for your prompt attention to this matter, Merrick. Signed, sincerely, your friends, Jim Jordan, James Comer, Jason Smith. Over from Congress. So, certainly very good questions. And you see just how corrupt this whole thing was. They just started to accelerate the plea deal when the smoke started to emerge, and they tried to cover it up. But there is going to be more that is revealed. We know there are 5,400 letters now, apparently, with Joe Biden's fake name on it. And Gary Shapley says there's going to be more people who are speaking out about this stuff in time. This is IRS whistleblower Gary Shapley.
Right?
That's right, Maria. I was in that room, and it was so important I asked him to repeat it. There are witnesses in that room that I have provided their names to. They've received subpoenas now because they were unwilling to cooperate voluntarily. And that's what I'm asking for. I'm asking for to bring as many people forward that have information about this, so that it's not just me sitting there. It's not just Special Agent Ziegler sitting there telling you what happened. But that's why I documented that meeting that day, October 7th, 2022. I sent the email to executives over me, one of which was there, and they corroborated that's exactly what happened during that meeting.
So what are your thoughts in terms of what went down? And what about David Weiss being special prosecutor now? Special counsel?
To answer your question about David Weiss being special counsel, you just have to look at what he allowed to occur during this investigation. There are key witnesses we weren't allowed to interview, that we weren't allowed to ask all the questions of certain people we interviewed. People were tipped off that we were coming before the day of action. There were enforcement operations, to include search warrants, where the probable cause was agreed to by the prosecutors that weren't allowed to happen. And then you look, he played his cards. Now moving through to his letters to Congress, through Attorney General Garland's testimony in front of Congress, that it is not accurate what they said. And, and part of it is DOJ will continually say their first talking point is a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney is in charge of this case. That's not what happened. In March of 2022, David Weiss and the prosecutors went to D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office of President Biden appointed U.S. Attorney. He turned them down. Weiss confirmed that October 7, 2022, again. In September, he went to the President Biden appointed U.S. Attorney in California. They turned him down. And then the information that was released last weekend, which is very important, it shows that Weiss was even considering not charging in January after those two President Biden appointed U.S. attorneys declined to bring charges there.
Right.
So, it requires people to come in and to testify and for Congress to get to the bottom of this.
I want to know what you're looking for in terms of what you want to hear, corroboration, because I find it odd that as an IRS investigator, you can prosecute taxes not being paid on income, but you're not investigating where the income actually came from. I want to get your take on what you saw in all of that Hunter Biden tax return information. And we're talking with Gary Shapley.
All right, so that's an interesting exchange. Shapley obviously very frustrated that his former colleagues are lying through their teeth at all of us. And we're learning more about this. I know that it's a slow motion event, but I think that as more stones become unturned, more evidence will come out, and they're going to have a very difficult time denying it. All right, so we've got one final segment here before we wrap it up, my friends, and this one is some fun stuff. 5,400 emails apparently exist, all involving Robert L. Peters. Who is that guy?
Joe
That's
Biden.
our president. That's his pseudonym. That's his AKA. When he was committing crimes, he didn't want to do it under his own name, so they created a pseudonym. And the archives, the National Archives, apparently have a bunch of them on record, but they are redacted, and we can't see them. But maybe Congress will be able to uncover them. From Just the News, the National Archives, they acknowledge 5,400 pseudonym emails. They're being sued for their release. All connected to then VP Joe Biden's pseudonym accounts. And he used this account to forward government information and to discuss business with his son, Hunter. And others. On Monday, the Southeastern Legal Foundation filed a lawsuit to compel the agency, the National Archives, to turn it over. We're very familiar with NARA. Deborah Steidel-Wall, the same person, in my opinion, who colluded with the Biden administration to make what Trump did technically illegal, and then launched the FBI after him. The nonprofit legal group that filed the lawsuit said the archives confirmed that Biden used the pseudonyms of Robin Ware, Robert L. Peters, and J.R.B. Ware during his time in the Obama administration. The archives admission confirmed years of reporting from Just the News about the use of the personal email as VP and the pseudonym accounts. And the foundation first filed a FOIA request to the archives in 2021 on behalf of John Solomon and Just the News. They renewed its initial request last year, but the archives have failed to produce a single one of the emails. But the lawsuit's going to turn up the pressure, and other groups like the Oversight Committee and others are trying to get access to the documents. And of course, we're going to see James Comer react to that. But why, oh why, would Joe Biden need a fake name? Well, it's because, as Victor Shokin, the prosecutor who was fired at the behest of Joe Biden, he was taking bribes. Shokin, the prosecutor who is no longer a prosecutor thanks to Joe Biden, threatening to withhold $1 billion of aid, confirms that.
Do you believe that Joe Biden or Hunter Biden got bribes? I do not want to deal in unproven facts, but my firm personal conviction is that yes, this was the case. They were being bribed. The fact that Joe Biden gave away $1 billion in U.S. money in exchange for my dismissal, my firing, isn't that a law, a case of corruption?
Yep.
It certainly feels like corruption. Using a pseudonym feels like corruption.
Yep.
Paying Hunter Biden $83,000 a month feels like corruption. And so why else would he need a fake name other than to hide from his criminality? And there's a lot of fake names out there, my friends. One way to stop some of those fake names from calling you is with our friends at Aura. That's a live stream privilege. We'll carry on. We've got now James Comer says that these fake names exist. He's seen the documents, but unfortunately the National Archives has redacted huge portions of them. And they're going to continue to go after them to see if we can see what's behind.
All the fucking criminals that had something to do with it need to be fired.
James Comer, and he joins me now. Congressman, why would Biden use pseudonyms? Any idea?
Because he's a fucking criminal.
That's a great question. Why would he set up with his family 20 shell companies? Why would they be receiving payments from foreign nationals from Romania, China, Ukraine, and Russia? You know, these are questions that every American should have, and that's what our investigation of Joe Biden's all about.
Have you got access to the unredacted documents from the National Archives showing these pseudonyms?
We have requested the unredacted documents, and it's very important because we believe there may be some redactions as to who was copied on those emails where Joe Biden was using a pseudonym, particularly in the case of Ukrainian policy, Stuart. So this is the utmost importance to our national security. Not only was Joe Biden using pseudonyms, he was copying his son on some of those emails that pertain to Ukraine when we had, prior to the pseudonyms becoming public, a transcribed interview with Devin Archer, who was on the board of Burisma, the corrupt Ukrainian energy company, along with the president's son. He testified that the owners of Burisma were squeezing Hunter Biden to call Washington to get help to fire the prosecutor, Shokin, who was investigating Burisma for corruption. So along this same time period, we found a pseudonym where he copied Hunter Biden, and it would lead one to believe that this was Joe Biden's way of copying Hunter Biden to say, okay, send it to the Burisma owners and tell them help is on the way. And 5 days later, Joe Biden flew to Ukraine to begin the process of firing the prosecutor in exchange for American tax dollars in the form of foreign aid.
You have a wealth of information right there. But look, it seems likely, it certainly seems possible, that there will be a government shutdown. Will that interfere with your investigations?
Well, I don't think there'll be a government shutdown. Obviously, we're having lots of internal discussions now with respect to how to fund the budget over the next 12 months. I hope that we can agree on some cuts. I hope that we can agree on holding certain bad actors within our federal government accountable. But at the end of the day, that's a decision that it looks like the Republicans are going to have to make as a whole, because we're not getting any help from the Democrats. They want to continue to spend in oblivion. So, but I'm optimistic there won't be a shutdown. But any type of shutdown would, Stuart, interfere with our investigation. Any excuse the Biden administration can give not to be transparent with the House Oversight Committee, they're going to take that.
Congressman James Comer, thank you very much for being with us today.
All right, so they're not shutting anything down. They've just lifted the debt ceiling to like $1 gajillion. There's like no limit.
They're always trying to put us in fear.
Election because our Republican leaders are morons. All right, so that's James Comer. The head librarians at the National Archives, including Deborah Steidel-Wall, they've redacted the documents, and I'm sure they're doing it for national security reasons or to protect personally identifiable information or whatever their stupid justifications are. B6, B7, whatever the redaction codes are. We can't see it because it's too dangerous for someone else to know what's inside. Yeah, right. We'll see if they get to the bottom of it. Now, meanwhile, we know that Hunter Biden is back in Malibu, California, and he's staying in a pretty nice place. You know, he's got all that artwork money. He's an artist now. He somehow evolved from mucus, moldy milk COVID paintings into some paintings that look pretty good. I'm kind of curious who the actual artist is on some of those. But you see the giant scam is still well underway, and so he's now back in Malibu. And now the question is the Secret Service also living in Malibu, and who's paying for their $16,000 a month expenditures?
The Secret Service is paying $16,000 a month now to stage near Hunter Biden in Malibu. Who's paying for that?
That's a question for the Secret Service.
Okay, Hunter Biden is reportedly selling art to pay for his $15,800 a month rent in Malibu. How can you guarantee that people are not going to be buying this art to gain favor with the president?
That is a question for Hunter Biden and his representatives. I know. I hear your question.
Got a job from the Biden administration. Can you guarantee that there's
I hear your question. I'm not going to get involved in this. That is a question for Hunter Biden's representatives.
But we know that from Hunter Biden associate now that he sold the appearance of access to the Vice President's island. Are you confident that he had stopped doing that?
That is a question for Hunter Biden.
If somebody is selling the appearance of access to the White House, that's a question for the White House.
No, that is your I don't know how you're perceiving that. I'm just not, Peter. I'm just not going to get into this. I'm just not.
So, this testimony, since the last time that I was in here, Devin Archer talks about how he and Hunter Biden tried to profit off the Biden brand. What is the Biden brand?
I'm not going to get into it from here. We're going to move on. Go ahead.
Thanks, Corrine. Thanks for nothing. All of those are very good questions that definitely implicate the Biden White House, and she can't even say anything. Just doesn't want to respond. So, feeling the pressure over there at the White House, Nancy Mace, House of Representatives, says, we're coming for Joe Biden. Just hang on tight. Coming soon.
In regards to the investigation we're going to be conducting, and it's time for Joe Biden to start telling the American people the truth. Why wasn't the White House on any of the Sunday shows yesterday? Why will they not answer the questions? Why does Joe Biden avoid the questions? And when he does answer them, he's lying to the American people. And I think that the American people just deserve the truth and nothing but the truth.
And did anything Shokin say to Brian Kilmeade surprise you? Did it add anything to the story?
Well, certainly having his testimony or his speaking to Brian Kilmeade in Fox News, sharing that information is very important. I want to talk to Victor Shokin next. Like, I would like to see evidence that he has, aside from Joe Biden saying on a microphone several years ago, bragging about firing Shokin. I would like to see if he does have any evidence of this, because every time Joe Biden has answered his question, he's lied about it. And because the Oversight Committee is not allowed to show the suspicious activity reports from the Treasury because they're confidential, we've got to go after bank records. I would like to know.
Suspicious activity report, man. If I got one suspicious activity report, I couldn't get a bank account.
People, what's actually been going on.
I always remember that. Was it last February or so? I think it was. That you and a couple of others went to the Treasury Department and you got to see documents and you came out, and I think that it's fair to say you were shocked.
Yeah, we played that.
And is that what you're trying to say? That you're not allowed to show that to us, but you're trying to say that maybe if you go to the bank records and you're able to get those, we would get the same information that you were able to see?
Correct. Correct. I would say that. And I would say the shock and awe comes from the amount of money laundering that we're talking about is staggering. And I've said this a couple times. The amount of money the Bidens, I believe, benefited from was going to be over $15 million, $17 million from Ukraine alone so far. It will be much higher than that overall when we talk about Romania, China, Russia, etc. Just one report in one of the SARS reports, and there were 170 of them plus. It was tens of millions of dollars and then some. Like, it's a staggering amount of money that we're talking about between the Biden family and their business associates in these corrupt countries. It's insurmountable, in my opinion, and I'm disgusted that the mainstream media has not investigated it.